Let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Showalter.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Howard. Redland.
Present.
Thompson.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We have Kent with us via the wonders of technology tonight. Can you hear us, Kent?
Yes, I can.
Oh, and we can hear you too. Good.
With no echo.
No echo, and only about a 2-second lag. I think we're doing great. Okay. Does anybody signed up for public comment this evening? No? And let's move on to consent agenda. We have A, the 2/5/24 Commission meeting minutes, B, the 2/12/24 Commission work session minutes, and C, the appropriation ordinances 2024-04, 2024-04A, and 2024-P04. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns on those tonight?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda, items A, B, and C.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redland,
Second.
second by Commissioner Myers. Any other further discussion? Roll, please.
Howard, Redmond,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Okay, we have no presentations or proclamations, so we will move on to ordinances and resolutions. Starting with A, we have ordinance 1769, which is our ordinance to allow Sunday sales. And I will start before Kent chimes in, if he doesn't mind. I had read it over, and I personally, had some concerns with the wording under section 2 on there, where it had the actual hours of sale. It's written before 9 a.m. or after 11 p.m. on any day when the sale is permitted, except that the governing body of any city by ordinance may require closing prior to 11, but such ordinance shall not require closing prior to 8 p.m., which that wording does match in the state statute that Kent had used to create that. But I just felt like the wording is almost kind of confusing in the sense that there's strict and there's a different statute that has the actual hours more clear in there, where Monday through Saturday it's 9 to 11 and then Sunday it's 9 to 8. And I just thought we might be better off if we kind of rewrote that to be a little more clear in that, instead of being just, we can't require closing prior to 11 or won't require earlier than 8, because I don't think that necessarily clarifies well enough. The one day has to be by 8 and the others could be by 11. So that was kind of my feedback that I gave Kent. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that or what you think.
I guess my preference would be I'd just rather see it all match all 7 days. I don't know that we have to have one day that's different than the others. If we're gonna approve it, I'd much rather just see something straight across the board that says this is what it is 7 days a week.
So the state statutes are actually Sunday is different hours allowed than the rest of the week.
Okay.
That's actually the state statute. It has to be
Has to be.
no later than 8
Okay.
on Sundays. So the statutes are different
So we're
hours.
guided by that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So technically, I guess the wording on this does cover all that time period, but I just feel like maybe we could just do a little more clear and straightforward
Okay.
as to, Monday through Saturday, these are the hours, and then Sunday, these are the hours. That's my thoughts. If you guys are okay with the way it is, we can move forward with the way it is too.
Simplistic is best.
Or we can table it and kind of re-clarify the hours.
I agree with that. Make it easier to read.
Yes.
Mayor, why don't you just take a motion to table if you want to do that till the next meeting?
Okay. Then I will make a motion to table this until next meeting.
I'll second.
A second by Commissioner Redlin. Any further discussion?
No.
Roll please.
Showalter,
Yes.
Redmond,
Yes.
Howard, Myers,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Okay, next up we have Resolution 1625, which is the cemetery caretaker contract, which we currently have with Joni Guger, who's with us this evening. And it has been the recommendation of the cemetery board to continue our contract with Joni, but to also give her a 4% increase in her wages for the next 2 years. I feel like Joni does a great job at the cemetery, and I really never hear any complaints, and if anything, I hear praise for the work that she's done out there. I don't know if, since you're here, if you want to say anything about the work you do out there at all, or if not, you're perfectly fine. Just sit back and
I love
it was very nice. So Resolution 1625 basically just states, it's updated from the last one, that and will increase her compensation 4% to $48,880 annually, and this would be for the next 2 years.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Resolution 1625 that indicates a 4% increase to $48,880 a year.
I have a motion by Commissioner Showalter,
Second.
second by Commissioner Myers. Any other further discussion? All right, roll please.
Myers,
Yes.
Redmond,
Yes.
Howard, Showalter,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. All right, thank you, Jim. We have no other formal actions, but we do have a discussion item on the agenda. We have gotten the summer report and the code recommendations from Community Matters Institute. And I will let Kent take over for a moment here.
Yeah, they, Barb Cole and the rest of the team at Community Matters produced a summary of findings based on the interviews and the joint meeting we had, and basically the work they've done over the last three and a half months. They basically came up with 9 categories that changes could be made within the land use code and other parts of the city code. Within those 9 categories, there's 35 recommendations. Some of them staff could probably accomplish on our own. There's other recommendations that it would be best to have Community Matters or a firm similar to that to assist us in creating that and work with both staff and the city attorney, Jay Kling, to create the proper ordinance to make those changes. For your guys' review, both the planning, if it's the zoning ordinance, it would be both the planning commission and then the city commission. If it's not in that area, then it would just be the city commission. Just go through that. She starts out by the commissioner insights on the city land use regulations. They're listed there. That was what was included in your packet. And then she had in her summary findings, addressed inconsistencies was the first category. Obviously, there's probably more than what has been identified already, but there's one recommendation with 4 different parts that is listed in the packet or the summary report. The second one is amend regulations to allow accessory dwelling units as a use by right, also clarify the definition of an accessory structure. It has several recommendations as far as the accessory dwelling units, from revising the definition in different places, as well as a recommendation for each zone district, amending the lot coverage requirements, and then some other recommendations regarding accessory dwelling units. Did you guys have any questions regarding those first couple categories and recommendations?
I don't have any questions on those. It's all pretty straightforward based on what we discussed with our meeting with them, I think.
Okay. The third category, and I'm not trying to short shrift, I'm just trying to go through it fairly quickly. The third recommendation is reduce lot size and amend all dimensional standards in the existing residential zone regarding setbacks, height, and lot coverage. And the basic reason is in recommendation 10 is that those 3 items were increased in 2001. Goodland didn't have that size originally in their requirements. It just was increased in 2001 significantly, and that was a point of discussion all the way through. They also had simplify the setback requirements so you don't have to do a math problem or require the property owner to do math problems. The other couple recommendations is regarding setbacks as well. And then there's a group of recommendations, all to recommendation 21, which includes create a table showing the dimensional requirements for all zone districts. including principal and accessory uses. The fourth category was create a new zone district in land areas suitable for multifamily. And the basic reason is that we have two residential districts, R1 and R2. R2 is supposed to be for multifamily, but it's pretty well occupied for all the areas that are designated R2 within the city. And so, and most of it is single family housing. It isn't multifamily that occupies R2. And then there's one other recommendation under that category. And then there's create mixed use. Next category is create mixed use districts, starting with the existing C2 or downtown business district. Starting with changing the name of C2, nobody really knows outside city staff what C2 means. Just call it what it is, downtown mixed use district. And there's two recommendations on that. I will say the first two categories are the areas, the first basically 9 recommendations are the areas that could be done by staff on their own as far as create the potential. We'd probably still want a little bit of review from the land planning consultant. But then from then on, it does state that the following recommendations will require Community Matters Institute with the help of staff to determine reasonable setbacks using satellite imagery, GIS, and 1 full day of on-site visit. Just to make sure we're doing it without harming anyone. Or what are the questions regarding it? Getting back to the list, and it says number 6, as far as the categories, says revise the parking recommendations, and there's 4 different recommendations regarding the parking standards. The basic genesis is to reduce the requirement for parking standards as far as having 2 off-street parking spaces for each residential unit. That can hamper multifamily type construction or even duplex construction. Sometimes that gets difficult. Number 7 category is revised design standards for manufactured and modular housing. There's 3 different recommendations under that one. And then category number 8 is in addition to the districts noted above, consider creating a small lot zone district in public lands or simply a public zone district. That might help as far as setting, then you can develop different standards for public facilities, whether it's City Hall, the County Commission building, the Sheriff's Office, the Police Department, the schools, and the parks. You can have different requirements for the public zone rather than having it have to meet R1 or R2, a residential zone district, which is where most of them are located currently. And then finally, the 9th category is to add the ability to move lot lines administratively as long as no additional lots are created. And that's eliminating a lot line or moving a lot line.
Yeah.
And there's 2 recommendations under that. So those are the 9 categories, and there's 35 different recommendations. In the preparation of the packet, I asked for if there was some direction from the commission as far as what should staff and or community matters work on initially to try to get some of these accomplished. Because the laundry list got to be a significant length. So
Yeah. I mean, it is a pretty significant list. I mean, reading through them, some of them, I don't know how many. I mean, a pretty good chunk of them seem like they'd be pretty simple things that kind of fit in with other ones as you're going along that just kind of need to be part of the process of keeping everything tidy as you're going. I guess
Absolutely.
my thoughts looking through it, it looks like they kind of organized it in kind of an order of probably easiest priority, where you get the first section done and clearing up language and stuff. It kind of makes it easier to move on down to the next thing, kind of, and then it just kind of builds upon itself as you work your way down. I don't remember, and guess I'm putting you on the spot here, so forgive me. So as far as like the creating of new ordinances, if necessary, or new zoning or whatever you need to do, how much of that is within the extent of our current contract with CMI, and would some of that fall into additional stuff that would not be covered?
We're basically finished. In fact, she went over hours. She donated over 24 hours or something like that, as far as the current contract.
Okay.
So we've completed that contract as far as the things we wanted to accomplish. We got to a point where we're ready to create, that we've identified what we need to do. Then the process of actually doing it, we can do it as far as how much work on an hourly basis, this section or that section, and at their hourly rate that's stated within the contract, which was $140 an hour, amongst the, whether it's Barb or Mike or Bob. That's most of it would be Barb. There might be some that get Mike involved with it.
Okay. I guess I would.
But there's some of that at the initial, when you started saying about cleanup, staff could, it's more about staff creating something and then having them review and provide expert advice about whether that works or not.
Yeah, I guess I was under the impression that we had that Zoom meeting with them to kind of get things to where they were going to come up with their recommendations, and then I thought we were going to have an in-person meeting with them to then kind of go over these summaries and kind of determine what we felt was the most appropriate priorities from then on. But
and we could still make that happen if you wanted to talk directly to them. We can work with them as far as the timing to come out and speak directly.
yeah, because I guess I don't know what everybody else thinks, but it's kind of hard to, because there's a lot of stuff in there, and it's kind of hard to kind of read through it and kind of think, okay, well, how much of this is just like I said, in-house work, cleaning up our current codes, how much is outside work that we're gonna have to hire somebody else to help finish it up. I guess I don't know the ins and outs of everything well enough to really judge that, and then we got to kind of determine, okay, well, what dollars are we looking at spending to accomplish all this, and which we definitely don't want to stop where we are now, but we want to get things accomplished.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to tell you with 100% certainty that it's only going to take this amount of time. I think we need to do, and I think that would be Barb's answer as well. I think Zach would agree with me in our conversations with Barb that it might be going through an ordinance or two and seeing what's the time period to get that done. We could have a much better idea going forward than how much time does it actually take and what does it involve.
Yeah. So I guess my my opinion would be to, just kind of go through it, determine the things that you felt comfortable that we could accomplish in-house and kind of focus on those. And then the other things, kind of try to figure out what it might take to accomplish those, both, what kind of outside resources and financially are we talking about to kind of get things completed. But that's my thoughts
Yeah.
anyway. Anybody else has thoughts on it?
Well, it's a lot to take in, so I mean, I would agree that step by step, recommendation by recommendation.
Certainly going after the low-hanging fruit first, I think, is definitely a good strategy. I felt like after we had that meeting the other night, I guess I was kind of under the same impression you were, that there was going to be some continuing work on helping us work through some of the other ordinances that we needed to find that needed fixed. A lot of the conversation I felt like that night came back to, section 3 where we talked about lot size and things like that. So I don't know if that needs to be a priority, because it just seemed like, whatever direction the conversation went, it came back to, well, this is not right because our lot size isn't correct. And so I don't know if that needs to be something that is moved higher in the kind of in the pecking order there. But I think it's also a good strategy for us to just take out whatever we can get first, get all the low-hanging fruit. But I certainly think we need more help than what's on this list. I think she indicated, even when she talked to us last time, that there's other ordinances that need to be fixed as well. So
Yeah, and and she did, and I listened to that with the assumption that additional work beyond the scope of this would be beyond the scope of the current contract,
Yeah.
but. But yeah, I think I agree with you that, a lot of the discussion came back to the lot size and setbacks and stuff, and, getting good clarity and get those set where we want them kind of seems to feed back into everything else as well. But
yeah, I mean, address inconsistencies, as far as recommendation number 1, I feel like that's going to be a heavy lift. There's going to be a lot to work through there.
yeah,
So-
but I mean, if we're just focusing on the inconsistencies of this particular issue, I don't know how wide ranging that would be.
I
But
guess
I
it
mean,
depends on how many ordinances they want to go through.
yeah. Well, I mean, if we're looking at, the ordinances as a whole, I mean, I think that's a lifetime problem right there, I think. But I think as long as we're, if we're staying within the scope of our current project right here, I don't know how bad that is. But
That clear enough, Kent?
Clear, but
You're right as far as, it really all starts with the lot size question.
Yeah.
A lot of the other things, it does need to be cleaned up, but the lot size is almost the primary thing to get it back to then some of the other issues, then is it still an issue? And, because of that, and, how much will that take to accomplish? And, there's quite a few, 10, 12 recommendations that revolve around that lot size that I think that would be the primary one to give you an idea how much time and how much effort would that take. And to have some feedback, some additional feedback from Community Matters regarding that. And maybe just on that issue alone, if she can attend the next meeting, whether virtually or in person, and have some direct question and answer, I think if it sticks to that topic of the category number 3, might give you a much better idea of what we're looking at. And that might be a way to, instead of trying to take on the whole thing, let's take, we're going to work on the whole thing, but split it down so that's just a chunk of the elephant. So that might be a way to direct our attention right now. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I just know, I mean, as far as like the general idea of, you know, what we're trying to accomplish with housing and the allowance of different types of housing and different types of zoning and stuff, I think the general idea is pretty clear and everybody's pretty much in consensus, but I also know that we don't want, you know, that we're at this point where we have a list of things to do. I don't want it to drag on for the next year and a half for us to get all these things accomplished. You know, we want to, the sooner we can get things done, the better. But also, you know, how much more, what kind of a financial cost are we looking at to get all these things accomplished sooner rather than later is also something we got to take into consideration. So.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's good. That's good direction for us for going forward.
Hey, and we have anything else on that? Okay, thank you. Well, with that, let's move right into reports. Starting with our city manager, Kent.
Well, included in your packet is the January month-end budget report, the manager memo, the January month-end budget report, also the police monthly activity report. I was reminded by the city clerk that the Sergeant Porter with the Goodland Police Department will be submitting a grant application to the Sherman County Community Foundation for, Mary, please help me with what the category was again.
Basically for AEDs, to have one in each car, and it's gonna be like an $18,000 to $20,000 grant.
That'd be nice.
So, just that the city is generally supportive of the grant application. Also, and depending on IT Director Josh Jordan to advise on some technical things tomorrow morning or tomorrow during the day regarding the computer system. And Josh, if you want to say something about that.
He would. He is coming to the microphone.
We'll eventually get over there. Okay, so since the beginning of the year, I've been working on upgrading our networks to our accessory buildings. So power station, public works, our treatment plant, and the police department. The next phase of that is actually happening tomorrow morning. Is coming in and they're pulling out 2 switches and putting in not really switches, but one is more or less a switch. The other one is for the phone system. So that all of that can be routed. So all of our internet-based services, so website, email, phones, all of that will be down tomorrow starting 8:45, 9 o'clock. It's not supposed to take all that long, but for unforeseen issues.
6 hours. Got it.
Yeah.
Making that 6.
They have it slated until 5 o'clock, but I've been told a lot of the legwork's already been done on their end. So hopefully it's just a quick 2 or 4 piece equipment swap and we're back up. But if not, then the latest that they're expecting at this point would be noon, and that's if they have to reprogram something else to make it.
All right. Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Josh.
you.
The other couple items that, and then I had a request regarding contractors' fees and everything else, and we'll have that available at the next meeting. Basically a larger fee schedule to get that clarified. And then also regarding water usage, I have some interesting numbers regarding water usage, and we hope to have that at the next meeting to start as springtime's just around the corner and everybody starts using water for their outside again. So we'll have some information on that at the next meeting. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Anybody have any questions or comments for our city manager? I guess kind of a comment question, I guess. It's more for Chief Earhart, I suppose, but he's not here. But I have just kind of casually noticed with our updates that we get from him, which I really enjoy, that the calls for service seem to go up every year. And I know like last year compared to the year before, it seemed to have gone up tremendously. And then just first month this year, it's up over last year. I just didn't know if we have any kind of a pattern or a reason for knowing why we have so many more calls of service lately than from a couple years ago. It's just the way things are handled now, and I guess maybe just run that by him, see if he just have a little more insight as to why we seem to be having so many more calls.
One thing that contributes to it is we do have most of our officers out of the academy, and they're full functioning officers now. And we're not. We have one going to the academy here in March, but we don't have multiples each year. So that does make a difference as far as their activity. Obviously, they're active officers and they take care of things. So, but Chief Earhart would also have another couple of comments regarding that. We'll really make sure he has an answer at the next meeting.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ken. Let's move on to commissioner reports then. We'll start down here on my right with Commissioner Showalter.
I just want to drop a couple thank yous first, Kent. I appreciate your leadership during the work session last week. I know you guys probably all feel the same way, but I get a lot out of those work sessions as a chance to, work through the strategic vision for the city and talk about our values and the things that are important to us. So I appreciate that. And Kent does a good job leading those discussion. Also, thank you to our Parks Department and Kent and the Street Department. You guys have been working hard trying to figure out what to do or where to put the shade structure for the park. And I think when we get that put up, I would certainly like to see a ribbon cutting or some way to really recognize that, because to see that come as an idea from a citizen who stood there and said, "This is my idea," kind of to fruition, I think it displays to the community that just one idea can lead to something big. So I think that's be good to recognize that.
Absolutely. Well said. Commissioner Myers.
And nothing at this point.
Commissioner Redland.
I just have a question. Really, it's going to be more. It's going to be directed towards Kent. And Kent, it's just a yes or no. Have we purchased any hotels for immigration use, like we're planning on using to house immigrants?
I have not.
Okay.
We've checked with the hotels several times over the last 6 months.
So I just basically,
and
sorry.
haven't had that.
So basically, I've just been hearing around the rumor mill around town that people have been asking me, whether or not we have done this act of purchasing hotels. I told them that I would get to the bottom of it, and so there you have it. No, we are not purchasing hotels to put immigrants in. That's all.
Also well said. For the mayor report, I have nothing more to add this evening. But with that, I would like to make a motion to move under the authority of KSA 754319B2 for an executive session for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. I would like the commission, our city attorney Jay Clean, and our city manager Kent, who I believe is going to be losing his audio on the GoToMeeting and be calling in here in a second for that. So I would like that for be a period of 20 minutes. Motion is on the table.
I'll second.
A second by Commissioner Redlin. All in favor say aye.
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 It's coming, Jenna.
Zach's next, right? We're talking about him.
Yeah, I think that's
That's me.
okay. Call this meeting back to order. I will now make a motion to move into executive session under the authority of KSA 754319B2 for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. I would like the city commission, our city attorney, and our city manager for a period of 10 minutes.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Showalter. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, let's call this meeting back to order. Does anybody have anything else they wish to discuss this evening? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Redland,
Second.
second by Commissioner Myers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.